be on the speakers list. And the reason I wanted to be on the speakers list, it's not such a need anymore, it was really to echo what Bill said, not about the chicks, but everybody else, about how fortunate we are to live on an island where there are people, wonderful, talented people who care so much that they spend the time they do giving us the services in the island we have. So just a huge thank you to our municipal staff, to our council, the mayor, and to really the volunteers that have just come forward with such enthusiasm to serve on the task forces and the committees. It's just made this a wonderful place to live. And only to pick up a paper to realize that governments at every level all over the world are facing incredible challenges right now. And I think on Bowen Island, we are just so fortunate to have all of you. Thank you.
Can you explain this new thing about CERC, just for those of us who don't understand compact, efficient, rural community concept?
What this is when Bob mentioned that we signed on this climate charter with the BC government back in the fall, in September I think it was, and we agreed to do three things. And one of them was create this compact community, energy efficient community. And what this is all about is trying to address global warming. And global warming, as I guess you all know, it's caused by burning fuels like fossil fuels, and it produces carbon dioxide. And there was a council of councils meetings last weekend in Vancouver. And there was a fellow there, governor from Maryland, Governor Glendenning from Maryland, who works with the Smart Growth Institute in the US. And there's sort of two approaches to addressing global warming. One is to make everything you use more efficient, like you're getting better light bulbs, so you're using less energy, getting better cars, and all that kind of stuff. But he says that's a drop in the bucket compared to creating communities where people don't have to move around as much. So that you're burning less gas because you can walk more, you can take the bus, you can ride your bike, or whatever, all those kinds of things. Now, so that's why the provincial government, in looking at how we can address global warming, said that's one thing we need to do is create more compact communities so we don't have to move around as much. And that means, on Bowen, where we have about 7 times as many roads per person as all the communities around us, it's a difficult challenge because we are a rural community. And some of the things that Tim Rhodes has talked about in the sustainability group that we have that works together is helping to build a local economy so there are more people who can work here and not have to commute as much and so on. So it's a real challenge for Bowen Island because we are spread out. But that's what we've committed to do, and that was one of the discussions we had with the Advisory Planning Commission the other night, is what does that mean for Bowen? And it's not an easy thing to do, but it's something we're going to have to grapple with.
Can I just ask, does this have anything to do with density? And does this policy, as stated by council, adopted by council, have anything to do to create a lens through which Cape Roger Curtis is going to be, whatever proposal they finally put on the table, will be viewed through?
It
Can I
could,
get that sentence?
yeah, it could because, you say, all right, for Cape Roger Curtis, what the developer has proposed is, one of the original proposals, was to have quite a lot of people out of that, the far end of the community. When you say, well, just a minute now, if we're trying to create a compact community where more people can walk around and so on, should they be at the far end side of the island? So that is one of the filters that we would look at that proposal. That's correct, yes.
And density as well as, with the discussion about OCP and the old OCP, new OCP, possible OCP, would this lens of CERC also have an impact on reconsideration of OCP?
It could do, and that was again the discussion that we had with the with the Advisory Planning Commission last Wednesday night. So it's a discussion that has just begun, and what it exactly means we don't know because we haven't had a full discussion yet. But
and that will include communities.
Yeah. Any changes to the OCP, of course, involve the community. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I've seen some fingers poke in the air. I'm seeing some people leaving and some people staying. So I just want to, I've seen 3 fingers poke in the air. Let's leave it at that. I saw Peter's and Bruce's and this gentleman's. Yeah. And Jan too? Okay, so that's 4. Okay. I I see a fifth year. I just am sensitive because we're now running over, but, I mean, the whole purpose, these are hard things to plan, there won't be another town hall for a while. So we do want to cover questions if we can, and you folks are patient to listen, so let's move through those. We now have 5 as quickly as we can. Peter?
Yeah, this is just sort of a follow-up along the line of what Bill Granger was talking about as a public safety announcement about ticks. When we were going through this whole list of things, inclusions, and Dick Underhill's comments aside that a lot of things are pending and some things are never completed, one of the ones that was in fact instituted and was not mentioned here was a program called the Bowen Island Home Safe program, which is now, it's provincially funded, it's administered by the North Shore Crisis Center, and it is available on Bowen Island. And it primarily serves women and children, but also for the elderly, and it addresses people who have concerns for personal safety, elder abuse, anything of that sort. And those services are entrenched on Bowen. They're somewhat underutilized, and they are accessible through Family Place or through the North Shore Crisis Center. And so that is something that people can take advantage of. If you know anybody who is in a situation to need them, they're sometimes reluctant to take advantage of that.
Thanks, Peter. Bruce?
I think what David Hawking said just underscores the need to redo the OCP, because this is a drastic change that we're talking about. I think the Cape Roger Curtis issue, problem, is a case in point, because what happens there, we have to be concerned not about it, but about its impact on the rest of the island, on police, fire, roads, schools, the whole thing, and we need to know that. Also, whatever you do with Cape Roger Curtis, and it's going from 60 lots to 1,000, we don't know where it's going to land. But that will be a precedent for other vacant areas on this island, because they will come to you and say, whatever you did for Cape Roger Curtis, you can do for me. So I think that's going to affect the way the island develops, and I think council needs to understand that.
Bruce, if I can just respond. Yes, you're right. It just gives an example of the complexity involved in looking forward around Cape Roger Curtis and around all the other issues. These issues are very complex and quite right.
Sorry, I don't know you.
While Michael's here, I'd just like to pick his brain about the Cape Roger Curtis issue as it stands right now. My understanding is that there's the potential, I guess, to have up to 58 10-acre lots at Cape Roger Curtis. But when you factor in roads, beach accesses that are required already, doesn't that, and because Bowen Island is not like Saskatchewan, you know, it tends to be a little bit rough and ready, and so it's pretty hard sometimes to actually get a 10-acre lot precisely. You're probably going to end up with some that are 11, some that are 20, and so on. Wouldn't the number of lots be much less than 58 as it stands right now if you just apply all the rules that are in existence with respect to Roger Curtis? So wouldn't we potentially end up with a subdivision that might end up with 50 lots or 45 lots rather than 58 lots? Is that an unfair?
Well, I thought I was going to get away with well, first of all, the property itself is some 630 acres, 640 acres, and the minimum lot size is 10.
Minimum lot.
Yeah, the minimum lot size is 10. So if you did 640 divided by 10, you get 64. But of course, you need to provide roads and you need to provide beach accesses. So that's why they have a proposal of 58. It's simply a proposal that they put forward. Can they get a subdivision approved for 58 lots? The review that we did of that subdivision a couple years ago, one would have to conclude they'd have to make changes to it. When they made changes to it, would it be 58, 54, 53, 42? Who knows? Who knows? But the point is that when you take your property and you have a certain lot size, you can't just divide the property by the lot size and say, that's how many lots you're going to get. You have to allocate land for roads, in some cases parks, accesses to the water. Topography sometimes dictates that the roads have to be such that you don't get every lot the minimum lot size. So where it would end up, if they proceeded under the current zoning, I don't know.